Joining us now is Ahmed Baba, political analyst and Democratic strategist. He's also a columnist at The Independent and author of Ahmed Baba News on Substack. It's great to have you here on set. So break this down for us. I mean, what do you make of what has transpired? Would you see Pam Bondi out there prosecuting this now? Does that put her in a difficult position? Because if anything comes forward from the Department of Justice, it's going to immediately be tainted. But at the same time, if nothing happens, she's effectively a lame duck attorney general defying her president.
When it comes to her personal motivations, Trump likes to put people in these positions where they feel like they're under siege. Like they're kind of making her the scapegoat for the Epstein file mishap, right? So she's feeling she's stuck between a rock and a authoritarian place here, right? She's trying to essentially, go after his targets. But overall, I just really have to note the unprecedented nature of the public post he made. Like in any other administration, this was uncovered by some brave journalists, and they were like, the president privately urged the attorney general.
I mean, if he would have sent that message in an email to her last night and a journalist found out that he had sent her that email, it would have been an earth-shattering,
all-encompassing, weeks-long news cycle. It would have been impeachment hearings immediately if it was the previous president. And instead, it's another Saturday night for him. And this is not what Americans wanted when they say transparency, right? Like, they don't want you to be...
They don't want the crimes committed transparently.
Not transparent crimes.
They want the investigations transparently, not the crimes.
Exactly. And just on that note of just the size and scale of the scandal, I'm old enough to remember when Loretta Lynch talked to Bill Clinton on the tarmac in 2016. And the right-wing media went berserk. They had a 5-minute conversation about their grandkids or something, and it was a long thing. And I actually looked it up. Trump talked about it at the time. I have a quote from him saying, "Oh, this was terrible. Nobody can understand why. Nothing's happened yet. Even in terms of judgment, how bad of judgment is this? Who would do this?" He said, of Bill Clinton, a former president.
He should have tweeted about it when he was back. He should have been like, "I'm going to see Loretta Lynch on the plane on the tarmac and see."
That's what he would have done. Right, full transparency, at least.
Exactly.
So you're a Democratic strategist. I have to ask you, for years, Democrats have said Trump is going to weaponize the Justice Department if he gets back in power. And Biden had power. Democrats had power for 4 years. Why was nothing done to try to build up the guardrails?
And that's a good question, because that's what I think Democrats need to run on for 2028. I mean, aside from affordability and these other issues, just a strong anti-authoritarian, anti-corruption platform where you go and no more norms. I'm tired of hearing about norms. Codify every single norm. No, we just think it's a nice habit that the president doesn't pressure the attorney general, or we think it's just there's an OLC memo here that prevents the president from doing this, but it's really just a suggestion. I think you codify every norm, robust anti-corruption policies, and a platform where you are essentially saying we want to guard against this again. Otherwise,
I'm shaking my head because I'm like, yeah, that's like so basic. It's so common sense that it should have happened. That's what Joe Biden should have done coming into 2016.
But it was a message. Democracy is on the ballot.
I know, but I'm saying, like, when the Democrats had control of Congress and Joe Biden was president for those first 2 years, there was a lot of pressure to be like, hey, you got a bulletproof American democracy, because what we just lived through, January 6th, really exposed a lot of vulnerabilities in our system, right? And that's what people were hoping Democrats... And they didn't. And I'm not saying it's a mistake that they moved on to other things, but we are now kind of paying the price that we don't have a bullet.
One interesting example of this. Are you familiar with our colleague's latest reporting on Homan allegedly accepting $50,000 of cash in a bag? Should the Biden administration, should Merrick Garland have released what they knew about that case at the time? I mean, did the American public not deserve to know that an investigation like that was underway?
Yes.
It seems to me like if a Biden administration official had been caught on camera by a Republican administration or someone even just socially, associated with the Bidens had done something like that, we would have seen that all over Fox News, Newsmax for weeks on end. So why didn't Democrats play that way?
I mean, Merrick Garland specifically is another story. I think he was trying to uphold some, mysterious, sensibility he had about just keeping the DOJ totally independent. But honestly, I just think that there's this, Democrats, it's not about like going against your enemies and like going to weaponize. It's about showing the truth. Tom Homan, especially, that is something where we had to know about it, right? In real time. Comey made that decision. I'm not saying they should have pulled the Comey and did a whole presser, but I do think they should have at least told the public about it. I think during this time, Democrats were really trying to be so careful that I think that they've held themselves back from like, for example, if Merrick Garland actually had prosecuted way earlier instead of holding off on the January 6th stuff. I think there's this, basically overall, there's this schism between those who genuinely believe we're in a democratic emergency and those who it's just rhetoric.
And the thing
I
for
think
me,
that behavior is what we're seeing.
The thing for me about that, to come back to your point about it, was this was in September of 2024. This was before the election. And the interesting thing, as we were kind of getting from Carol Lenning's reporting yesterday, was that the FBI was basically waiting to see if Tom Homan wins and actually becomes an official. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, if you're the FBI and you're kind of waiting...
It's not enough.
Yeah, no, exactly. They were like, he took the $50,000 and, you know, and in the piece it spells this out. It says that there were a litany of other charges they could have gone after before it becomes a bribe, right? To be a bribe, you have to be a public official. He wasn't a public official yet. They're waiting for the election to see if it does become a bribe. But they could have charged him with conspiracy to commit a bribe. They could have charged him with fraud. So the crime, according to the reporting, had been committed, but they were waiting for a bigger crime. But it also assumes that he was going to win the election, which, again, shows you the independence of the FBI at the time, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you're thinking, you know, as the Republicans now argue, hey, the Department of Justice was weaponized under Joe Biden, why wouldn't they have come out with this? Why would they not have
Exactly.
Because the FBI was at the time, as many Americans believe, was independent, and they didn't even know what the outcome of the election was going to be. They didn't know that Donald Trump was going to win in September of 2024, that he was going to win, and yet they waited and didn't actually prosecute this guy.
Merrick Garland did not do a lot of things that would have helped Joe Biden.
Yeah.
So,
and yeah, this totally undermines the argument that it was weaponized against Trump, right? Like you're saying, because if they had all of this incriminating information that could have tanked Trump's campaign, if they were truly weaponizing the DOJ against Donald Trump, they would have released it.
Really quickly, Lindsey Halligan, the new nominee for the Eastern District of Virginia, Trump nominated, former personal attorney of Donald Trump. He has done this time and time again. People in his personal inner legal I don't know what you want to call them, team is perhaps the safest word I can use on air, that they're now being put in these positions of power.
She, what I believe, was an insurance...
Pending confirmation, I should
She
know.
was an insurance lawyer. Right. There's a thing where you put people unqualified for the position so that loyalty is maximized. You put people in positions that they would never otherwise be in so that they will do your bidding. That's what he does. And right here with Lindsey Halligan, if she were to go in, you cannot corrupt the law. When the law becomes at the whim of one man, that's how democracies fall. And what we're seeing is exactly that. And we didn't even get into all the free speech stuff, which we would love to talk about. But, like, that's why we're here doing it. I mean, we're all still, you know, our speech hasn't been chilled yet. And that's what this is all about, trying to provoke us to be afraid.
Well, we'll have you back to talk about that and more.
Yes, Ahmed Baba, thank you so much for coming in. And coming up, a major step against ICE tactics. We'll discuss with a New York City official who was arrested last week while protesting conditions at an immigration holding facility. This is the Weekend Primetime.